Hey everyone, it's Shawn again from Lone Star Karate and Self-Defense, and today I have a question that I was posed the other day about striking, and do I want to strike with the fist or do I want to have an open hand strike? And it was a really good question. And from a boxing standpoint, from an MMA standpoint, obviously those guys are using fists to punch because they have big gloves, and you know, gloves are meant to protect the hands. Some people believe gloves are meant to protect the other person's head, but it's not. It's to protect the hands from breaking. And even though they're wearing these big gloves, a lot of times they still break their fingers, the bones in their hand. There's a fracture called the boxer fracture, and that's because a lot of boxers end up breaking those hands when they're punching other people in the face. And so from a self-defense perspective, does that mean that we shouldn't be using our fist? And in some degree, I think that's a very important thing to think about. So what part of the hand are we wanting to hit with? And so I want to talk about that. I want to talk about other possible striking surfaces that may be used from a self-defense perspective. So if you are a boxer or an MMA guy or gal, then using your fists is something that you have practiced and trained for however long you've been in that sport. So using those fists is probably going to be beneficial for you. But if you've never done any type of self-defense or combatives training, then going into a sport like boxing or MMA strictly to learn how to defend yourself and then putting on gloves in order to punch with fist is probably not your best option. So as a self-defense instructor, I would not suggest using your fist in a self-defense situation in a fight, because you're not going to have those gloves. I would suggest having open hand strikes, palm strikes from this perspective, straight palm strikes, and even swinging palm strikes as a more probable strike instead of fist. And on top of that, we can always use open hand strikes instead of our fist, but recognize that I'm not just talking about one type of strike, one type of surface that we're going to be using. Recognize that we can use the bottom of our fist, right? So hammer strikes, and we also have from the inside. So like you're throwing a hook, and instead of hitting here, you could be striking here with the inside of your fist, okay? And don't count out forearm strikes. Very big club-like surface area to be hitting our opponents and the attackers. Recognizing that we want to try to take these fists and either open them up and hit with the forearms, hit with the palms, hit with the elbows, rather than constantly working on boxing type combinations and whatnot from a Krav Maga perspective. And a lot of Krav Maga schools are trying to go that route and work on boxing combinations, but when you're teaching people how to defend themselves, it's just not a good answer. So if you're teaching or training in a Krav school that's mainly focused on fist, you might want to pose that question and ask them, well, why are we doing punching versus open hand strikes or forearm or elbow strikes? That's something that I'm not sure many Krav Maga instructors may know how to answer. So I would pose that question to them. If you like this video, please hit the like button. I'd appreciate that. Subscribe to the channel. And if you have any other questions or any other concepts that you'd like me to discuss on future videos, please comment below, okay? See you next time.